It is a common misconception that corporate departments, like marketing, HR, or R&D, operate as independent fiefdoms with their own isolated goals. The reality is much stricter. Functional strategy is not about inventing a creative direction. It is strictly the ground-level execution of a much larger plan. Corporate hierarchy breaks down into 3 distinct tiers. Top management sets the corporate strategy, middle management defines the business strategy, and the bottom tier executes the functional strategy. The absolute law of this hierarchy is that a functional strategy must take its marching orders directly from the business strategy sitting immediately above it. If the overarching business strategy mandates strict cost leadership, a brilliant high-budget marketing campaign is an operational failure. It contradicts the core objective. Functional departments do not invent their own purpose. Their sole job is to translate abstract executive theory into concrete daily operations. Think of the organization as a mechanical value engine, built to run a specific input-output loop that converts raw assets into shareholder wealth. This flowchart maps the process. It starts by acquiring human and physical resources. These feed into functional departments for internal processes like manufacturing. The output is a finished product delivered to consumers. This generates income, converted into shareholder wealth, providing capital for the next investment cycle. If a single functional department misinterprets the business strategy, this entire loop breaks down. The engine stalls, burning through resources without ever generating reinvestment capital. To see exactly how strategy dictates execution, we can compare 2 diametrically opposed business models, cost leadership and differentiation. This diagram illustrates marketing strategies. Under cost leadership, marketing relies entirely on a push strategy. A push strategy requires investing heavily in distribution to physically force volume in front of buyers. Differentiation relies on a pull strategy. Here, the budget is poured into advertising and brand development. The objective is to create consumer desire so strong that the buyer actively seeks out and requests the product from the distributor. This divergence extends straight to the factory floor. This document outlines production priorities. Under cost leadership, the facility is locked into mass production of standardized goods. Lines do not stop for changes. Under differentiation, volume is sacrificed for flexibility, relying on custom modifications for unique customer needs. High-level business strategy dictates the exact physical machinery operating inside the manufacturing plant. The marketing copy is simply the outward reflection of those mechanical choices. The type of machinery chosen in production dictates exactly who human resources is allowed to hire. This table correlates business direction with hiring. Cost leadership's standardized mass production mandates HR to source low-skill, low-wage labor for highly repetitive jobs. For complex, flexible products under differentiation, HR pivots to require high-skill, high-wage employees capable of self-management. These constraints reach even deeper, dictating the nature of innovation within the research and development department. This matrix maps R&D strategies. Under cost leadership, teams focus on internal processes as tech followers, pioneering low-cost operations by imitating competitors. Under differentiation, R&D focuses outward on the product as tech leaders, generating genuine innovation that adds distinct value. The intelligence level of the workforce and the specific ambitions of the inventors are entirely predetermined by the overarching business strategy. Support functions react to internal strategy, but they are uniquely hostage to the external macroeconomic environment. This table dictates financial posture based on market conditions. During a booming economy, the firm focuses on aggressive growth. Finance targets high-risk investments and is willing to incur a high debt-to-equity ratio. When the economy enters a recession, that strategy instantly pivots. The firm focuses on shrinking operations, strictly avoiding new debt, and returning cash to financial institutions. Navigating these volatile shifts requires an internal monitor, a role filled by the Information Technology Department. IT is tasked with providing highly accurate, up-to-date reports on stock and internal operations. Their system identifies critical deviations from the baseline plan, so managers can intervene. Finance and IT form the organization's nervous system. They must detect external economic shocks and internal operational failures before those issues destroy the value engine. With multiple functional paths available, executive management requires a definitive process to select the optimal strategy. This notes sheet outlines a three-step evaluation. First is quantitative, evaluating strategies through optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely scenarios. Second is qualitative, aligning with long-term vision and surviving a SWOT analysis. The third filter is management's attitude toward risk and the existing organizational culture. If a massive gap exists between new strategy and company culture, the workforce will treat the initiative like a foreign body and actively reject it. A mathematically perfect strategy on paper is completely useless if the organization lacks the cultural capacity or willingness to execute it in reality. Leadership often falls into fatal strategy traps. First is follow the leader, blindly imitating a competitor while ignoring internal capacity limits. The second trap is attempting to hit another home run. Assuming past success with one product guarantees the same process works for a new one. To avoid these traps, leadership must constantly look back at the overarching hierarchy of the firm. Strategy is not a menu of independent choices made by isolated departments. It is a rigid, top-down chain of command. When the functional floor executes operations that contradict the corporate ceiling, internal friction tears the value engine apart. True business success requires uncompromising alignment, straight from the boardroom down to the factory floor.